Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets. Yesterday there were four good playoff games. We had a picks for two, and here are the results. Vegas put a fourth gear on in second period after 2-0 lead by Minnesota in the first period. They scored five in a row and won the game 5-2. They outshoot Minnesota quite clearly. I think it was 40-19 or something like that. And Vegas really showed that they are better team if the opponent gives any kind of room for them. It's interesting to see next game in Minnesota or in St. Paul how the home team responds because they need to play 60 minutes like they played first 20 in order to beat Vegas. And then Florida got a little bit breathing room against Tampa. Very tight game like predicted, and overtime victory for a visitor. They set the series numbers 2-1 and a lot of goals in this game, like in all of these earlier matches between Tampa and Florida. This time it was 6-5 for Panthers. Tommy, at least the Florida championship went like we predicted.
Yeah, both games went a lot like we predicted. Minnesota also started really well, as we expected, in their home game. They allowed only 4 shots on goal in the first period by Vegas, played very well defensively, managed to score 2 goals, got 1 goal disallowed as well, so started very well. Then something happened. Maybe they went a little bit too defensive and gave Vegas the keys to do this the similar way that Vegas did for Minnesota when they won at home. Vegas is a better team doing that. So Minnesota's defense not good enough to contain for 40 minutes this Vegas offense. So something to be learned from definitely from Minnesota's side that they do have to keep on playing actively and aggressively throughout the game. They cannot go into defensive mode because Vegas will relentlessly bound in 40 shots and it's bound to backfire at some point. So a good win for Vegas, a little bit bad pick from us. But this is a learning process for Minnesota Wild. So I think the next game they know that, okay, even if you lead 2 goals, 3 goals, you have to keep on fighting because Vegas is such a quality team. In Tampa Bay, then a very interesting game. Not much of a playoff hockey, more of Hawaiian style. Maybe we can call it Florida style now. Back and forth. Panthers scored 2 goals early on in the first period. They were looking good. Then the second period, in 10 minutes, Tampa Bay led 3-2. So back and forth throughout the game. A lot of goals. Very entertaining game. Florida is the team that will prevail in these sort of games if there is not much defense, if you allow this many goal scoring chances. So I think Tampa will take another lesson from this and try to play more of their style of ice hockey rather than getting into these sort of very free flowing stuff that Florida Panthers is best at, and that's what they are trying to do, be it at home or away. So let's see how the next game goes. If Florida Panthers tries to only play offense, what will Tampa Bay do? Will they just shut it down and try to win 2-0? Or will it be another one of these 12-goal games, which is fine by me. I like watching this sort of hockey.
Yeah, it's trending quite a bit over with these Florida teams and maybe also some other matchups like we've seen. Colorado has been single-handedly scoring 6 goals in first 2 games at home. Then maybe the biggest surprise of the night, our favorite Montreal beat Toronto on the road 2-1. And do you think this could be some kind of series, or is this now 4-1 like we predicted before it started?
First of all, it was a great performance by Montreal Canadiens. They played really well in the defense, solid all around the ice. They didn't allow a lot of A-grade chances for Toronto. Toronto on the other hand, maybe a bit disappointing in their sort of movement, and their style of play did not happen the way that they are dynamic in the offense, and the defenders joining the rush and all these things that worked well in the regular season didn't work now. So I think it was more of a Toronto's little bit lackluster performance than it was Montreal's good performance. But defensively, extremely good game from Montreal and nice win for them. I do think still that Toronto will prevail and win maybe at least 3 games in a row, maybe not 4, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, I think the probabilities before the playoffs started in this game was Toronto in 5 with over 30% chance. So if it would go to Montreal in 4, that has had a 1% chance before the season, before the playoffs started. So I still also tend towards Toronto to pick up and win 4 games.
Yeah, it is these first games that are difficult for the favorites, and they are more evenly matched because you have to be aware of how the opponent is going to play. There might be some changes. So now Toronto is aware, 100% knows how Montreal is approaching this game. And I think in the next game we see a lot better offense from Toronto.
Then the 4th game, Pittsburgh took 5-4 victory in Long Island against the New York Islanders. It looks like tight series, but Pittsburgh maybe this 1 goal ahead in every time.
Yeah, if it goes into these kind of games that you have a lot of space, you have a lot of opportunities to score. Penguins is a better team offensively for sure. Islanders can't play like this if they want to win. They have to play like they did in the first game. Very aggressive, physical, give no space or time for Penguins. And if there is any sort of odd man rushes or anything going for the Penguins, Islanders need to fall back and defend their goal a lot better than they did. But as mentioned, Islanders will do everything in their power, especially at home, like we saw now in the 3rd period, a little bit of fighting, all these things to upset Penguins, because in the end, Penguins are a better team. But this is the weapon that Islanders can facilitate, is to try to get under their skin, do a little bit of a dirty work there. And this is something that Barry Trotz is very good at. So it's definitely not over yet. Very tight series ahead.
It doesn't continue tonight, but there are 4 games that we naturally follow in very detailed. Here are our picks for tonight. Washington plays 2nd game in Boston. This time they are not favorites, or Boston is clearer favorite, but there's a great value with plus 153 odds for the visitor. So far, all of these 3 games have gone overtime, so coin flip in any case. And with this kind of odds, these even games provide very good value for visitor. And then other game, Winnipeg surprised like we predicted Edmonton in a first game. Now 2nd game, Edmonton should get their big guns, McDavid and Draisaitl, up and running. And Edmonton requires that 4-5 goals to win these games. So over 5.5 goals with odds minus 105 provides another good value out of these games tonight.
Yeah, 2 really nice values for games that we think are going exactly as the simulations show. So interesting to see Washington getting such good odds for a game that is a complete coin flip. The previous games have been so overtime games. You never know what's going to happen in those. Capitals played well last game. They got back Samsonov to goal. Boston won it in the overtime. I don't see the difference between these teams as high as these odds indicate. So in the simulations, we do have Washington for 42%, a great value here. The odds are somewhere around 39%. So great odds for a game that can go either way. Boston may be a little bit better at home against Capitals, but still a very competitive match, important match for both teams. With these odds, it's a no-brainer to go for the road team in this case. And then the Edmonton game. In the first one, Jets were a lot better They played a lot more balanced ice hockey than Edmonton was able to. Only scored 1 goal. Oilers, I mean, no points for McDavid, Draisaitl. Very disappointing offensively. So that's something that they will have to improve, and they will, because even if Jets are going into defensive, and that's the way they can win, Edmonton only wins if they score goals. And this is their bread and butter, and that's something that they will go all in this game. They have to win this second game at home after losing the first one. So I think Edmonton are up for 4 goals, 5 goals in this game, no matter what Winnipeg Jets is trying to do. And then, of course, when the other team goes for all-out attack, it also opens opportunities for the other team. So I think this is going to be a 6-7 goal game. No matter if Connor Hellebuyck is doing whatever he does best, show some magic, but he can't stop all of these top guys of Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, for the Washington-Boston game, that's like every game very crucial, but this is definitely one of the decision makers in this kind of series, because if Boston takes 3-1 lead, they have around 86% chance to win this series based on a historical track record since start of the NHL. But if it's even 2-2, then Washington has higher chance to win the series. They have 57% probability to take 4 victories, and that big swing here is something that is on table tonight when Capitals play against Bruins.
Yeah, Capitals can freely go and put all their effort in this game, because if they lose this one, I don't see them climbing up from 1-3 against a team like Boston. So this is a game again that Capitals do have to win. Like many of these playoff games, of course, are this with the same nature that you can't just lose any game. But the importance is this time Capitals. It's more important for the Capitals to win it, and there is pretty much nothing to lose in this case.
Then we have 2 series that had after first 2 games 2-0 by the home team. Now Carolina and Colorado take road. They play against Nashville and St. Louis. So Midwest teams hosting these high octane offenses. Do you think there's home team has any chances against these top teams in West and Central Division?
In the playoffs, always a chance, but like the simulations show now, we have Carolina for about 61%. We have Colorado for about 71%, so clear favorites, even on the road. From the first 2 games, the takeouts can be that both of these favorites are so much better than their opponents that it's more likely that the road and the home advantage does not really apply here. I do think that Carolina is a lot better than Nashville, and if they play like they did in the first 2 games, Carolina will take a 3-0 lead in this series. Same goes with Colorado. St. Louis has been good at home against Colorado during the regular season, but now when the stakes are higher in the first 2 games, Colorado showed that however it is that St. Louis is trying to play, Colorado can match that and score a couple of goals more. So I do see both of these favorites winning the 3rd game as well.
Yeah, and if that happens, then the winning the 4th game is just a question of time, because like we discussed earlier, only 4 teams in NHL history have won a series after being behind 3 games. So Carolina and Colorado can take a convincing 3-0 lead tonight.
Yeah, 3-0 is a good lead, and it allows a little bit of a letting go. That's why usually, well, I'm not sure statistically usually, but it's a feeling that the 4th game, if it would be a sweep, the 4th game is always very difficult for the favorites to, especially if you play on the road. So maybe they take it to the 5 games and win it comfortably at home in front of their home crowd, which is now allowed at least in some places. So it's nice to see that as well happening. So maybe a little bit more of home ice advantage this time around when you get these 4 to 9, 10,000 customers there in the stands. It's an important thing for the players.
Yeah, in Carolina there has been 12,000, so that's the standard on average amount what Florida usually gets in standard seasons. But we'll add 2 more spectators from the TV side to watch these games, and we'll be back tomorrow with more analysis.
See you tomorrow.